Hi everyone, it's Gary Nicholson here for the Mountain Weather Information Service. This is your Planning Outlook video updated on Friday the 27th of October. Now we've got gale force winds across the mountains on Saturday. Those winds will turn round northerly through into Sunday, ushering in colder air for a time at least, with freezing levels coming down to 800 or 900 metres or below across northern Scotland in particular. So a very cold feel to things on Sunday. Next week is a little bit milder early in the week, with some fronts coming back in off the Atlantic and some rainfall on western mountains from time to time, although not as much as seen in recent weeks. And then just still the hints of going colder as we head to the start of November. This chart gives you an indication of total rainfall. This is in 5 days until the end of Tuesday and shows that most of it focused on western mountains, but the total smaller, as I said, than we've seen in recent weeks. You might pick up on 15-20 mil over the western side of Scotland, perhaps also into the Lake District where fronts just become slow moving. But overall, I think it's small totals of rain, and you've got some dry days in there anyway, with eastern mountains overall being drier. The next 5-day period through until next Sunday shows small rainfall totals again, a bit of uncertainty on the details, but pressure looks fairly high, so looks at a quiet picture in terms of rainfall amounts in the week ahead. Here's the synoptic chart for Saturday. We've got strong westerly winds across the country, with widespread gales across the mountains, storm force winds in fact across the higher Scottish Munros, winds at 60 to 80 miles per hour, and some powerful gusts even down to low levels, so difficult conditions out there in many places. We've got drizzly rain and low cloud coming into many of these western areas too. It may not amount to a great deal for much of the day, but could just give some persistent outbreaks of rain across those western parts of the Highlands into the Lake District too. Spots of rain in the wind elsewhere, but drier with higher cloud bases further east. Now a cold front will clear southwards through into Sunday, ushering in brighter but much colder conditions. We've got the winds easing down somewhat, but the wind chill factor will be significant nevertheless. And essentially a dry and bright day for many, with higher cloud bases, maybe just some cloud plaguing these northern tops in Scotland, and a few snow flurries possible within that northerly flow, generally not amounting to a great deal, and at most places dry with good amounts of sunshine through the day on Sunday, but freezing levels down even 800-900 metres, with the higher tops then sub-zero to the day. Add on the wind chill, it really will be feeling cold. Here's Monday's chart, and we've got fronts extending in from the Atlantic, bringing lowering cloud and some outbreaks of rain and drizzle to many western mountains, maybe becoming increasingly persistent here. Smaller amounts further north and east, and across a good part of England and Wales, you dry and bright all day. A cold start, a frost in many glens and valleys first thing in the morning, and staying rather cool through the day, although temperatures tend to lift as those fronts do edge in. The winds will strengthen, but should just about stop short of gale force. With something of a breeze into midweek, although the wind is much lighter than they will have been on Saturday, generally as a west or perhaps even a southwesterly flow. Fronts tangled across the country, a bit of uncertainty exactly where they lie, but giving some outbreaks of rain and drizzle to western areas from North Wales to the Lake District, Dumfries and Galloway, southwest Scotland. You might escape largely dry further north across the Highlands and into the Cairngorms, with somewhat higher cloud bases possible there, but around those fronts, cloud will shroud the hills most of the way through. Slightly milder air though coming back in again by this stage, so generally above freezing. Front still draped across the country into Wednesday. Pressure is fairly high, so not too much on them. Zones of cloud and bits of rain and drizzle, some showery outbreaks towards western Scotland, damp conditions around this front, possibly if it's centred around southwest Scotland, northwest England. Bits of rain and drizzle around, but never amounting to a great deal. Higher cloud bases further east and northeast, and some of the higher tops around the Cairngorms may well clear with drier air in place here. Now looking towards the end of the week, and confidence is still fairly low on exactly how things play out, and the overriding theme of recent days has been that we're going into a chillier north to northwesterly airstream later in the week and for the start of November. That's still there, and the idea is that colder air will try and come round from the north. The question is how much that just influences Scandinavia and Eastern Europe, and how much that may influence our part of the world. A lot will depend on the little area of low pressure shown here to the west of Ireland, which is a little complication in the weather pattern. Higher pressure is focused around Iceland at this stage, trying to topple back towards us, bringing maybe some frosty nights at the start of November, but also fairly quiet weather with some bright skies in there. Now, as we head towards next weekend, low pressure around Greenland and Iceland is trying to come back in, so we may find some fronts bringing some showers to western areas heading into the weekend. but the pressure pattern on this chart at least is fairly slack, so there's not too much confidence of detail we can really take out of this. I think overall it'll be fairly cool. It may be pretty quiet weather, just one that means day-to-day detail is going to be hard to come by at this stage, so keep a close eye on all the forecasts for the end of the week. We'll leave it there for today. The next video will be online for you on Tuesday, looking in a bit more detail towards next weekend. If you've not seen our social media accounts yet, they're as shown on the screen, so you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thanks for watching this video today, and bye for now.